Morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Well, I request all of you to please mute your mic. All of you, I request you to mute your mic. Some of you have not muted, and also I request all of you. This Nurujjaman, can you please mute your mic?
Okay,
I request all of you to please mute your mic. And many people have joined, and some more are waiting to join. Many have joined, some others are waiting to join. I hope all of you can hear me.
yes, sir.
Only
Yes, sir.
when you want to communicate, only when you want to ask something, you only when you want to ask something, then you what is called unmute the mic.
Okay, sir. So,
And most of the faces are beautiful, I can see.
thank you, sir.
Some other faces I cannot see. All of you, you please switch on the video once. Let me see your faces also, these beautiful faces. You please what is called switch on. Right, switch on the video. Okay. And before I start, many of you may face this internet problem. Many of you may face this internet problem. So those who find that the internet is not good, what you can do, you can visit this CPS Madharpur or CPS Pathargandhi, the nearest center to you, either CPS Madharpur or CPS Pathargandhi. There, I think they have some arrangement. Okay, so all those who face internet issues, for your classes, you can visit there, CPS Madharpur or CPS Pathargandhi. There are some arrangements for this online classes. Okay,
Sure, sir.
it is not for all. And those who have joined, well, if you face difficulty, some of you may be facing because of this internet problem. Or so internet is slow, you can stop your video. You can stop your video. And I request all of you, to mute your mic. I request all of you to please mute your mic.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
I request all of you to please mute your mic. Someone else? Someone told that could not hear my voice. Where can you hear my voice? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So someone can hear, others cannot hear. So that may be an issue of internet. And those who say, if you are nearer to Badarpur, CPS Badarpur or CPS Patrakandi, for this online classes, we have arrangements there. You can just join there. Okay. So we will start very soon. We will start. Most of them have joined. Very soon we will start. And I think I have interacted with most of you earlier also. And you know, by this time you know that I'll be teaching physics. I'll be teaching this physics that almost all of you know. And this is a subject. This is a subject which most people don't like. Okay, this physics is a subject that most people don't like. But whether you like or you don't like, you must study. There are no other options. Most people don't like, but whether you like or you don't like, you must study. If you want to crack NWT or JW, you must study. There are no options.
Sure, sir.
And I think we will see as we go on that it is not as terrible as we think. The subject is not as terrible as we think. Now, before I start, I think how we will take you along, in this online classes. Actually, you cannot learn too many physics, chemistry, biology, or mathematics in this online classes. So this online classes will be basically this practice. It will be something like a practice session, orientation. We should tell. It's a better term. But orientation sessions, it will be like this, online classes. And once we start physical classes, once again we'll start from the beginning in the physical classes. Okay, once we start physical classes, we'll start from the starting in the physical classes once again. And as I told you that most people don't like physics, most people find the subject to be tough. It is because that most people don't know how to study the subject. Okay, most people actually they don't know how to study the subject. Some people think that I'm good in physics. I'm not good in physics like this. I think every one of you are here will be good in physics. Every one of you. We don't have a concept that you are not good in physics. That concept we don't have. Every one of you will have the capability to learn physics. Now, how to learn as time goes on? How to learn the subject as time goes on? We will learn how to learn the subject. That is more important. In physics, how to learn is more important than what to learn. Okay, what to learn, you will get in many books what to learn. But how to learn will be more important. The second thing, as far as this online classes, I want to emphasize here is that though there are two categories, I think NWT and JW, both you have logged in simultaneously. Physics and chemistry now in online time, for both NWT and JW will have the same class for physics and chemistry. and link has been shared. So for those who are opting for JW, when biology classes are going on, instead of biology, you will be shared another link. You will click on that link. You will join for mathematics class using the other link. In this link, physics and chemistry will be common for all. In this link for NWT students, you will use this link for biology classes. And for JW students, a separate link is provided for mathematics classes. So when biology class is going on this link, you can log in with the other one for this mathematics class. Now, as far as this online classes goes on, as long as it goes on, we will learn something in the class. Not too many things, but many things we learn, but not too many things. And after every class, some DPP we will tell, daily practice problems. Some DPPs will be shared. And I think almost all of you have joined the group. In the group, that those DPPs will be shared. And in physics, what you will do, you will try to solve as many problems as you can in physics. Okay, you will try to solve, you see what I'm telling, you listen carefully what I'm telling. You will try to solve as many problems as you can, because you will not be able to solve all the problems. Okay, all problems you will not be able to solve. So you will try to solve. You will try to solve as many problems as you can. Okay, now, what are the steps you need to follow to learn physics? You cannot learn physics by simply reading some good books. You cannot learn physics. You cannot learn physics by attending some lectures. How good or how bad the lectures are. Simply by attending some lectures, you cannot learn physics. Okay, so you see, you cannot learn physics by reading good books. However good the book is, you cannot learn physics. You cannot learn physics by attending some good lectures. How good or how bad the lectures are, it doesn't matter. You cannot learn. To learn physics, you should do it slightly differently. Now, first thing is that every day you find a time slot. Every day. Whether you have anything to do in physics or not doesn't matter. Find a time slot. Preferably in the morning. Morning will be a better time if you can find in the morning. Find a time slot, preferably in the morning, for 2 hours or 3 hours that you can dedicate. Now, sit at the table for those 2-3 hours. Okay, sit at the table. Whether you like or you don't like, sit at the table. As I told you that initially you will not like, but sit at the table. And sit at the table and try solving the problem. So most of the problems you'll not be able to solve, but you should try solving all these problems. Okay, most of the problems you'll not be able to solve, but you should try solving all these. Yeah, maybe you have not muted your mic. Can you please mute the mic? Those who have not muted, you please mute the mic. So what I was telling that every day you will try solving the problems. These DPPs will be given, and those DPPs you should try to solve. You will try to solve those problems whether you like or you don't like to solve it. You will try. So those problems which you can solve, it's fine. If you can solve some problems, it's fine. If you cannot solve the problem, okay. If you cannot solve the problem, then what you do? Read the problem again in detail. Okay. If you cannot solve the problem, then read the problem again and again. Read, just keep on reading. Keep the problem in your mind. Okay, so you will read the problem again and again. You will keep the problem in your mind. And I'm sure if you just do this much, you don't need to solve as I told you. You just do this much, and by the end of the course, I think, by the end of the course, I think you will be in a better placed position to solve problems from physics. Now, when I will ask you questions, you will unmute your mic and answer the question. After that, you can mute the mic when I ask the question. And we will start with our first chapter. Our first chapter is units and measurements. This is our first chapter, units and measurements. We'll start with this one, units and measurements, our first chapter. Well, now if I tell quantity, you don't need to write, you just tell. If I tell quantity, what do you understand in your day-to-day life? Can you please unmute your mic and tell? If I ask quantity, what do you understand in your day-to-day life? Yes, you just need to unmute your mic and tell. If I tell quantity, in your day-to-day life, what do you understand? Yes, yes, you just need to unmute your mic and tell something. Your answer may be right, answer may be wrong. And the answer you give may be right or may be wrong. And it is more likely that you will give wrong answer. Now you need to unmute your mic to tell the answer. Yes. When I write quantity, what do you understand?
Sir, amount.
An amount, something an amount. In our day-to-day life, we understand it something like an amount. Say, a quantity of rice is 5 kg. When we tell, we understand that the amount is 5 kg. Volume is something, but this much amount of material we need. Now, here, so first we'll tell physical quantity. Physical quantity. Okay, physical quantity. By physical quantities, we mean that something which we can measure. Okay, something which we can measure. Yeah. So by physical quantities, we mean that those that can be measured. That can be measured and measurement should be same for all. Okay. Physical quantities, by physical quantities, we mean that those we can measure and measurement should be same for all. As an example, time. As an example, time. As an example, time. Now, when I tell time, say, for example, if I ask you what is the duration of this class, that is time. All of you can measure. And the duration is 1 hour, 30 minutes. It is same for all. Anyone measure the duration of this class, it will be 1 hour, 30 minutes. Okay, so that 1 hour, 30 minutes is the time. The time is a physical quantity. You understood? I hope all of you understood. But if I talk of loudness, loudness, you know, all of you know loudness. How loud we can talk. If we talk of loudness, you see a sound which is loud to you may not be loud to me. It will be different for different person. Someone who is deaf will not be able to hear at all. Okay, so this loudness is not a physical quantity. Likewise, brightness, for example, brightness. Brightness is not a physical quantity. Light which is bright to us may not be bright to someone else. And someone who is blind, for him, brightness is 0. You see, brightness is different for different persons. So brightness is not a physical. Yes. From Barbia, can you please mute your mic? Fateha Khanam, you please mute your mic. Okay, I hope you got that. Physical quantity means the quantity we can measure, and everyone when they measure should get the same value. As an example, mass of this marker, if you consider this marker, the mass of this marker is 100 grams. Anyone measure this mass, it should be 100 grams. Okay, anyone measure this mass, it should be 100 grams. So it is a physical quantity. Mass is a physical quantity. Okay, so I hope you understood what we mean by physical quantity. First thing is that by physical quantity, first thing is that we can measure it. And the second thing is that everybody should get the same value for the measurement. Then it is a physical quantity. Some people have raised their hand. Do you have any questions?
Sir, I cannot understand the second thing, sir. Please, can you repeat it?
Second one means?
Sir,
physical quantity.
Yes, sir. I cannot understand the physical quantity. What is?
What it is? Okay. I'll explain this one once again. Anyone else? Yes. Okay. So if you don't have question, you should not raise. You should lower your hand. Only when you have question, you raise your hand. Otherwise, we'll get confused. Who has questions and who don't? Okay. So once again, let me tell you, physical quantity means that those quantities that we can measure, that will be physical quantity, and the measurement should be same for all. So, for example, this marker, we have marker. We want to measure its mass. The mass is 50 grams. That mass will be physical quantity because anyone measure this one will get the same value. Okay, but as I told you, one example is loudness. That is easy to understand. Loudness is an example. So someone who is deaf, for him loudness is always 0. For someone else, loudness will be more. For some other people, loudness will be less. So this loudness is not a physical quantity. Similarly, brightness, a light which is bright to us may not be bright to someone else. If someone is blind, for him, brightness will be 0. So brightness is also not a physical quantity. So loudness, brightness, they are not physical quantity, but length, mass, time. So if we want to measure its length, suppose it is 20 centimeters. Anyone measure the length will get it 20 centimeters. But length is a physical quantity. Okay, I hope all of you got this point.
Sir, understood.
Yes, sir.
There are many problems, sir. I cannot very clear.
Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute, something happened. Now, when we talk of physical quantities, okay, physical quantity. As an example, this time, I told you the physical quantity. Okay, this time is a physical quantity. If I tell force will also be a physical quantity. Time is a physical quantity. Force is also a physical quantity. Both are physical quantities. Okay. Now, if I ask you to define force, this one, define force. I think all of you can define. If I ask you to define force, all of you can define. Someone, can you please try to define force? Someone, please try. Can you please try? You unmute your mic. Try to give the definition. Whatever you have learned in class 8, 9, and 10, in any medium you have learned, can you define force? Give a definition
Sir,
of force.
F is
Yes,
equal to
yes.
M1 M2 divided by R square. F is equal to G
F
M1
equals.
M2. F is equal to. Hello, sir.
No, you are telling something tough. Tell him an easier one.
Sir?
Easy one. What is force? In class 8 or 9, you have learned. That's one. Force.
So force is equal to M1 into M2 divided by R square.
An easier one you have learned in class
The force
8,
is
9,
the
like
product
this.
of mass and acceleration.
Right, force is the product of mass and acceleration, but that is tough because assume that I don't know mass, acceleration, all these things. Assume I don't know any physics. Just you assume I don't know any physics, and you want to
kind of
tell the definition of force. Yes.
So it's a push or pull kind of
Right, that's the exact one. The definition of force is push or pull. That is what you have learned. All of you have learned this definition, push or pull.
Yes,
All
sir.
of you have learned, I hope, this definition.
Yes, sir.
Push
Yes, sir.
or
Push or
pull
pull.
is a force. All of you have learned. Okay, now you define time. All of you, you unmute your mic and define time. Just unmute your mic and define time. Yes, yes, you try, just try. Yes, yes. Just you need to define
Existence, sir,
time.
existence. Sir, it is the existence.
Huh?
Existence.
It's a dimension where events take place.
I mean, you just assume, imagine, you just assume that I don't know physics. Okay. Just assume that we are all in the same category. And you don't know physics, you know a little bit, of course. You know a little. Assume that I don't know any of the physics, and you are to explain me, you are to give me the definition of time. How will you define it? That is what I want.
Sir, the duration in which all the things happen.
The duration. Okay, one definition I got. Can someone give a better definition? Can someone give a better definition? Can someone
Time
give
is
a better definition? Yes. Can someone give a better definition?
A force is simply defined as a push or a pull on a particular object.
तो कैसे हैं आप?
Sir,
Yes. Now you see,
so
will it
time
be
is a
better? Is it the sound
quantity
quality?
that we can measure.
Okay, just 1 minute. Is the sound quality better now, or it was better previous one? Is
Sir,
it better now?
sir.
Okay, okay, no problem.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, no problem. Now you tell, how will you define time?
The
So
past,
time
present,
is a
future.
physical quantity that we can measure.
No, we can measure, but how to define? So when I tell force, some of you have defined F equals to ma. Some others
Yes,
have
sir.
told that it is a push or pull like this. So when you tell push or pull, you understand what is force. Likewise, you give a definition of time. A definition of time.
It's past, present, future.
No, these are not definition. These are English literature only.
Sir, it is
Yes, you
sir,
try. Yes,
it is the existence of something in a period, sir.
it is the existence of.
Existence of something in a period, sir.
No, what is period then? What is period? Yes. Well, actually, actually, when we tell what is time, we don't know what it is. We cannot define what is time. Actually, still now, we don't know. So some of you, do you think that all these great inventions and discoveries have been made and people took away all the Nobel Prize? Do you feel like this? And nothing is
No,
left
sir.
for you? Huh? This Jatalal Gada. Who is that Jatalal Gada? I think this is a character, some fictional character. You change your name. Well, so if you think like this, that all great inventions and discoveries have been made, In our first class, I tell you that the definition of time has not been given. People have not defined time. We don't know what it is. So if you can define time,
Why, sir?
if you can define time, you will get the most exciting Nobel Prize in the history of physics. Right? So just try to define time, but not now. First you crack this need, and after that you give your effort to define time. Time has not been discovered, defined till now. So if you can define time, you will get a Nobel Prize, and that is for sure.
Sir, Albert
Yes.
Einstein didn't define time.
No, Albert Einstein didn't define time. No one defined time. Okay. No one defined time till now. So you see, force is a quantity that we can define. But when I talk of time, when we talk of time, time is a quantity which we could not define, which we don't know how to define. We don't know how to define time. Likewise, okay. Suppose one more quantity I write here, length. This quantity I write, length. Can you define length? One quantity I write here, length. Can you define length? Please try.
So distance.
Please try. You need to unmute your mic and try to define length.
So distance.
What is distance?
So like distance between 2 points.
No.
So
Can you
length.
define? Right. Can you define the distance?
So distance.
Distance. You try to define.
We can measurement the distance.
No. You told distance between 2 points is length. You told this one.
No, sir.
No.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then immediately I'll ask, what is distance? And how will you tell what is distance? Well, again, we don't know. In fact, if I tell you length is a quantity that we don't know how to define. Length is a physical quantity we don't know how to define. Time is a physical quantity we don't know how to define. So if someone asks what is time, simply we don't know what is time. Okay, if someone asks what is length, we don't know what is length. Okay, suppose I tell that another quantity, if I write here, MASS, mass, another quantity I write here, mass. This mass. And I ask you to define this mass. How will you define this mass?
The amount of matter.
No, sir.
Can you please try to define mass?
Sir, amount of matter.
In class 9 and 10, you have learned
Sir,
yes.
sir, mass is the quantity of matter contained in the body.
That is the definition you have learned in class 9 and 10. But actually, mass is a physical quantity which we don't know how to define. Okay, we will see.
Property of all matter.
Very soon we will see amount of matter is not mass. Actually, it is given as an idea that if amount of matter is more, mass is more. It's an idea. It is not the definition. So you
Sir.
see, there are yes.
Can we
Yes.
measurement all these things?
Measurement we can do. Because time, for example, the duration of this class is 1 hour 30 minutes. That you can do. All you need is a clock. You can
Yes, sir.
measure. Say the length of this one is 20 centimeter. This object, length of this object is 20 centimeter. That you can do. All you need is a scale.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you see,
Okay.
when we told time,
Yes.
we don't know how to measure that time. Orbital force, we don't know how to measure this force. I mean, sorry, when we tell time, we don't know how to define time. We can measure time. When I tell force, the definition all of you know. All of you know the definition.
Yes, sir.
When we tell length, again you see, when we tell length, definition we don't know, but we can measure length. So there are some physical quantities, are there. Some physical quantities are there which we don't know how to define. And there are some physical quantities which we can define. So those physical quantities which we don't know how to define, they are called fundamental quantities. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Why, sir? Why, sir?
Huh? Why? So we'll categorize all these physical quantities into two types, okay? We'll categorize these physical quantities. We have two types of physical quantities. One is called fundamental quantities. Fundamental quantities. Fundamental quantities, okay? These quantities cannot be expressed in terms of other physical quantities. Okay, these are the physical quantities which we cannot define actually. Example, mass, length, time, etc. Okay, so if someone asks what is mass, simply we don't know what is mass. Okay, if someone asks what is length, again we don't know what is length. Okay, if someone asks what is mass, we don't know. Simply we don't know what is mass. If someone asks what is length, again we don't know what is length. Okay, if someone asks what is time, we don't know what is time. So if a quantity we cannot write in terms of any other quantities, then we'll tell it is fundamental. Means we cannot define that one. Fundamental quantities, all of you have understood?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
I don't understand the time.
Okay, so physical quantities and non-physical quantities. We are not dealing with non-physical. We are only dealing with physical quantities. Two types of physical quantities we have. One is called fundamental. Means that we cannot express them in terms of any other quantities. As an example, mass, length, time, etc. If someone asks what is mass, it's mass only. We don't know what it is. Okay. If someone asks what is length, it's length only. And someone will tell them that distance between 2 points is called length, as someone told earlier also. The distance between 2 points is called length, someone told. But you know, in physics, it's the opposite way. Length between 2 points is called distance. So we will learn it later. Now we are not interested in this one. Now, as you told that force, some of you told that push or pull is called force. Some other told that F equals to ma. You have learned so many things, it seems, so many physics you have learned. See, when I talk of force, we can express in terms of some other quantities like mass, acceleration. Acceleration, again, we can express in terms of some other quantities. So those physical quantities which we can express in terms of other physical quantities, they will be called derived quantities. Okay, derived quantities. Derived quantities.
Correct. Now solution is year force. कल से year को लेके आना या तो घर पे आप लोग इंग्लिश मीडियम कर सकते हो.
Yes, someone, you please mute your mic. You should please mute your mic. Okay, so derived quantities means these are the physical quantities that can be expressed in terms of other physical quantities. Okay, derived quantities means these are the physical quantities that can be expressed in terms of other physical quantities. As an example, velocity all of you have heard. Velocity, acceleration, force, etc. You check anyone, if you have any problem up till this much, you check.
Sir, please repeat one. I cannot understand it.
Okay, I'll repeat. Okay, someone asked, is time a physical quantity? And that I have been telling all along that time is a physical quantity. Okay, someone asked that is time a physical quantity? And yes, time is a physical quantity. Then someone has written someone has written that someone else has written that time is distance by speed. Time is distance by speed. Someone has written, but you know, this is not the definition. Actually, time is not distance by speed. Speed is distance by time, actually. Okay. Mathematically, it's correct. Time is distance by speed. Mathematically, it is correct. But in physics, we don't write time as distance by speed. In physics, the definition of speed is distance by time. Okay, you got. Mathematically, it's correct. Time is distance by speed. Mathematically, it is correct. But in physics, distance, speed is distance by time. Speed is defined. Time is not defined. We don't know what time is. And one student, is time a physical quantity? Yes, time is a physical quantity. You see, is a quantity physical or not? Is a quantity physical or not? To see, you just ask that if everyone measure, will they get the same value? If everyone measures and get the same value, then it is a physical quantity. And if different people measuring it gets different value, then it is not a physical quantity. Okay. Now, Physical quantity, you understood that if everyone measure a quantity and get the same value, then it is a physical quantity. If different people measure the same thing and get different value, then it is not a physical quantity. You understood physical quantity? Two types of physical quantities we have. One type is that we cannot express them in terms of anything else. We cannot define. Means we don't know actually. Actually speaking, we don't know. Say, what is time? We don't know. We can only measure how much is the time. What is length? That we don't know. We can measure how much is the length. What is mass? That we don't know. We can measure how much is the mass. Those things will be called fundamental quantities. But if we can express in terms of some other quantities, if we can define, as you told, that force, you write mass into acceleration, that will be called derived quantities. Okay, if we can measure, that will be called derived quantities. So if we can express in terms of other quantities, then it will be called derived quantities. Any question till this much?
Sir, can you please explain again the diverse quantity?
Derived quantity means, well, simply speaking, if you feel the quantity is very common to you, very common to you, say, for example, time is a very common quantity, length is a very common quantity, and you see, you are asked to define, and you don't know how to define it easily. And then we'll tell it is a fundamental quantity, means we cannot define it all. So time, actually there are 7 fundamental quantities we learned, which we cannot define in terms of any other quantities. They are fundamental. If we can define a quantity in terms of something else, some other physical quantities, then we will tell it is a derived quantity. Example, force, as you told, force, you told that it is mass into acceleration. So that is a derived quantity. As time goes on, we'll understand it more. So for the time being, what you will understand that we have physical quantities. Okay, for the time being, you will understand that we have physical quantities. Two types of physical quantities. One is fundamental, the other one is derived. Fundamental means we cannot define them. Derived means we can write them in terms of some other quantities. This much is clear. Very easy thing. Yes, any questions you have? You can ask. Any questions if you have, you can ask.
Sir, derived, please again repeat derived quantities.
Derived means you can tell in terms of some other quantities, okay? As an example, velocity you have learned?
Yes, sir.
Velocity. How we have learned velocity?
Total distance by time.
Displacement by?
Time.
So velocity, is it a fundamental or derived?
Derived quantity.
Derived quantity. You understood? Yeah, so when we tell velocity, immediately you know it is displacement by time. That means it is a derived quantity.
So
you understood?
we can
Yes, sir.
so we can define derived quantities.
You
Am
can
I right,
define.
sir?
Yeah, right. You can define. You can define. Say, for example, if I ask you kinetic energy, all of you have heard kinetic energy? Yes or no? Kinetic energy. You have heard or not? Kinetic energy.
Yes, sir.
All of you have heard kinetic energy. Those from Bengali medium, what do you tell? Someone from Bengali, some people are from Bengali medium also. Huh? What do you tell kinetic energy in Bengali medium? Someone, can you help me? Those who are from Bengali medium. I think kinetic energy, how do we write? If I ask you kinetic energy, how will you write? Yes, you try. Suppose I ask you to write kinetic energy, how would you write? The formula, you remember the formula? What you told? Okay. Whatever it is. Kinetic energy, what is the formula? How do you write formula? Huh? You remember this one? You got this one in class 9, I think you got. Half m v square. You write like this?
Yes, sir. Sir, just forward.
Half m v square is kinetic energy, you write. In class 9 you have learned. So this kinetic energy, is it a fundamental or derived quantity?
Sir, I think derived.
Derived quantity, not I think, it is a derived quantity. You understood? What do we mean by fundamental and derived quantity? You understood? All of you have understood, I hope?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, do you go for shopping, groceries?
Sure, sir.
Groceries, all of you go? Yeah, you shop for groceries?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you buy rice. Have you ever bought rice from the market, from the shop?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So when you go to buy rice, you ask the vendor. How do you ask that? Give me 5 rice. You ask like this.
No, sir.
Tell.
Sir, give me 5 kilo rice. Yeah, 5
Give
kg
me
rice.
5 kg. Okay. 5 kilogram or 5 kg. You don't tell, give me 5 rice.
Yes.
You don't tell. Do you tell, give me 5 liter of rice?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Why don't you tell,
Because
give
it's
me
not
5 liter
liquid.
of rice?
Sir, liter using like liquids.
Liquids.
So when you buy, suppose oil also you buy.
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you buy oil, what do you tell? Give me 5 kg of oil.
No, sir.
No, what do you tell then?
No, sir. Liter.
Sir, 1 liter well.
1 liter, okay. 1 liter oil. Why don't you tell 1 kg oil?
Because it is aqua, sir.
No, you tell in easy term. You tell in easy term.
This is liquid.
Liquid, okay. So
Yes,
when
sir.
you buy liquid, you are telling 1 liter.
Yes, sir.
And when you buy rice, you tell 5 kg.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you see, you don't tell 5 rice, you don't tell. This quantity you use to specify the quantity you need.
Yes, sir.
This one also you use to specify the quantity you need. Am I right? So
Yes, sir.
this standard we use, this kg is a standard. Liter is a standard. This standard we use, they are called units.
Sir, voice not clear.
Units. You understood what are units? You understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Kg, liter, these are the units.
Suppose you want to buy a piece of cloth.
Yes, sir.
You want to buy a piece of cloth. What you will tell? Give me 2 kg of cloth. You will tell like this.
No, sir.
No,
2
sir.
meter.
Will you tell 2 liter of
2
cloth?
meter.
2 meter.
No, sir.
Meter, sir.
2 meter you will tell. This meter is called unit.
Unit.
Unit, length unit.
It is a standard which we use to specify how much we need. Okay, a standard we are using, that standard actually tells us how much you need. Now, Now, so suppose two people are purchasing 5 kg of rice. Suppose there are two people are purchasing 5 kg of rice. Who will get more rice? Suppose two people, A and B. There are two people, A and B. Both of them are purchasing 5 kg of rice. Same rice. Who will get more?
So they will get same.
They will get same. That means the standard we are using, it should be same for all.
Yes, sir.
So the standard we use to specify a quantity that is called units. And the specialty is that it should be same for all. In the shop, have you seen this balance? Common balance, something like this. We have a fulcrum there, one pen, another. Have you seen this one?
Yes, sir.
Here they keep a stone, iron stone, 1 kg.
Yes, sir.
It's written 1 kg. And here on a bag they put rice. Have you seen this one?
Yes, sir.
This 1 kg is actually a standard. It is same for everyone. Standard. So that standard is called units. You understood what we mean by units? You understood? Yes or no? What do we mean by units? You understood? Yes or no? Though we don't need, if someone asks to define unit, it is a standard of measurement. Some of your mic is not muted. You please mute your mic. Once you give the answer, after giving the answer, you mute the mic. So unit, it is a standard of measurement. Okay, standard of measurement used to specify the quantity. Used to specify the quantity. How much quantity we need? Okay, it can be example. What is the unit of time? Second. Second is the unit of time.
Second, minute, hour.
Or minute or hour. Second.
kg
Kg is a unit. Then you know the unit of force.
liter
Newton.
So many things. So many things you know.
Yes,
Unit
sir.
of force is Newton. Etc. Okay, etc. We'll learn all these units one by one. We'll try to learn.
Yes, sir.
But you have learned so many things. The only thing is that whatever you have learned, we'll just expand them a little bit. Well, so can you tell, because we have two types of quantities, physical quantities. We should have two types of units also. Some will be fundamental units, the other one will be
Derived
derived
units.
units. Fundamental is also called base. Fundamental are also called base. So some will be fundamental units, the other will be derived units. Now, second, is it a fundamental unit or derived? Second,
a
Fundamental unit.
it's a fundamental unit. Okay. Second,
Fundamental.
kg.
Fundamental unit.
The fundamental
Kg is a
unit.
fundamental unit. Kg is a fundamental unit. Second is a fundamental. Kg is a fundamental. Newton. Is it?
I think derived unit.
It's a fundamental, sir. Force is equal to
Is it fundamental or derived? Newton.
sir, fundamental.
Derived.
I think derived.
Right,
Right, sir.
Derived. It's a derived because Newton is the unit of which quantity? Newton is the unit of force.
Force.
Is it fundamental or derived? Force is
Right, sir.
I think derived, sir.
No, sir. Force is fundamental.
See, who told you?
Sir, I think.
Sir, force is derived.
Ah, this is what I was telling, that you see, derived and fundamental, the difference is that if you can define it in terms of something else, it is derived.
Right.
If you cannot define in terms of something else, then it is fundamental.
Fundamental.
Okay, so force, you see,
Okay.
you should be clear in all these things. First class will not learn more, will learn less thing, but you should be clear. Force, when you tell, you can express in terms of something else. As someone told, mass into acceleration. Some other told that it is push or pull, so it is a derived quantity. Okay, so you will just see if we can. Next class, I'll tell you that you don't need to confuse in all these things again. Next class, I'll tell you that you don't need to confuse. We have some easier thing also. And you know, as we go to the higher physics, it will become more and more easier. As we move to higher and higher physics, it will become more and more easier. Well, now when we tell you have learned speed, all of you have learned? Yes or no? Speed.
Yes, sir.
How do you define speed?
Distance by time, sir.
Distance by time. Okay, all of you have learned speed and you define it as distance by time. You don't write, I'm just writing here. Speed
Yes, sir.
is distance by time. Well, if I want to write the unit of speed, yeah, if I want to write the unit of speed, what shall I write?
Meter per second.
This distance is meter divided by time is second. Meter per
Second.
second. Meter per second.
Meter per second. Yes, sir.
Meters.
Meter per second.
Meter per second we can write. Well, you have seen people driving car. All of you have seen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In a car, there is a speedometer. Have you seen speedometer?
Yes, sir.
10, 20, 30,
20.
50, 60, 70, 80, like this we have seen. And there is a pointer here. A pointer here. Now, if the pointer is here like this, what does it mean?
Sir, it means 60 kilometer per hour.
This speedometer in a car you have seen, all of you have seen speedometer. All of you have seen speedometer.
Yes, sir.
All of you
Yes,
have
sir.
seen? Okay. If
Yes,
the
sir.
pointer is
Yes, sir.
pointing like this, if the pointer is pointing like this, 40.
40.
Suppose this is- what does it mean?
Sir, 40 kilometer per hour.
40 kilometer per hour. Okay, the speed
40
is
kilometer per hour.
40 kilometer per hour. The speed.
Yes, sir.
40 kilometer. You see, here we are telling meter per second.
Yes, sir.
Here we are telling kilometer per hour.
Hour.
Okay.
Hour.
We don't tell actually kilometer per second. We are not telling here.
Yes, sir.
Or meter per hour. We could have told kilometer per second. We could have told like this. Or we could have told
Yes,
meter
sir.
per hour. Meter per hour. We could have told like this also.
Meter per second.
Right? You see,
Sir, we
We
can,
could
but we
have-
don't.
we could have told kilometer per second, or we could have told meter per hour. But we are not telling like this. What we are telling meter per second, kilometer
sir.
per. That means when we
Why
combine
we can't?
units, we combine in a certain way, specific way. We don't combine arbitrarily. So what we have actually, we have some system of units. Yeah, we have some system of units. And we don't combine units arbitrarily. We don't combine kilometer per second. We don't tell meter per hour. We tell meter per second or kilometer per hour. Generally, we tell like this. So when
Yes,
we
sir.
combine units, we combine in a definite way. So we have some system of units. Okay, system of units. Okay, one system is called CGS system. CGS system.
Centimeter, gram, second.
Yes. Centimeter, gram, second.
Second.
So here we have C stands for centimeter, which is the unit of length. G stands for gram.
Gram.
Is the unit of mass. S stands for second.
Second, sir.
Time.
Okay. C stands for centimeter. Centimeter is that. G stands for gram. Gram is the unit of mass. S stands for second. Second is the unit of time. I hope you got this one. So you see, whenever we combine centimeter we can combine with gram. Will not combine with kilogram. Okay, centimeter will combine with gram, will not combine with kilogram. Centimeter will combine with second. Or gram we can combine with second, gram we can combine with centimeter. I will give you some example. Another system is FPS system. FPS system. Okay, FPS means foot, pound, second.
Pound.
Okay, foot is the unit of length. Pound.
Pound, yes, sir.
Unit of mass. Second.
Time.
It's the unit of time.
Yes, sir.
Again, when we combine foot, we will combine with pound, foot with second. So for example, we will not tell, density, density? Density,
Sir, is that frames per second?
Density?
Mass into volume.
Mass by volume. Density.
Mass by, yes, sir, mass by volume.
Mass by volume. So if we tell mass is gram, then volume is cubic centimeter. Okay. If we tell mass is pound, then it will be cubic foot. So CGS system, FPS system. Okay, CGS system.
Sir, I didn't understand what is density.
What is?
Density.
Can you please tell loudly? What
Density,
is?
sir.
Density. Density means mass by volume. We have not learned in class 8, 9, 10. Density. Mass by volume. Mass by volume we have not learned. Oh, no problem. We'll learn. Density is mass by volume. For the time being, somewhere in your you remember density is mass divided by volume. Okay. For the time being, somewhere you note and you remember density is mass by volume. Okay. will learn. We will do this later. For the time being, somewhere we will learn. Well, we have CGS system. One more system we have that is called MKS system. One more system. One more system we have, it is called MKS system. One more. MKS system.
Matter of length, matter.
Meter.
Meter, kilogram,
Is kilogram.
Yes, sir.
Kg, kilograms. Okay, so we have this three system. CGS system, FPS system, and the third one is MKS system. In all this system, if you look, if you look in all this system, what are the quantities you have? In all the system, if you look, what are the quantities you have?
Length, mass, time.
Length, mass, time. Okay, in all this system, we have length, mass, time. In all this system, this is length. What is length?
Sir, we cannot define length, sir.
No, we cannot define length. It's a fundamental quantity. What is mass?
We cannot define, sir. We don't
We
know.
cannot define. That mass is also a fundamental quantity. Similarly, time is also a fundamental quantity. So the base
sir.
quantities, base units in all the system are fundamental units.
Yes, sir.
Okay. In all the system, the base units are fundamental units. So three system of units we have learned. One is CGS system. CGS means centimeter, gram, second. MKS means meter, kilogram, second. FPS means foot, pound, second. And all of them measures length, mass, and time. Means all of them you have fundamental quantities. So basically from here you can guess that we have three fundamental quantities we have. Okay. So today we will not learn more, but as I always tell that people are not as kind-hearted as I am. People are not as kind-hearted as I am. Sometimes what happens, this FPS system has another name. FPS system has another name. It's called British engineering system. Another name is British engineering system. If people ask British engineering system, immediately you will understand it is FPS system.
FPS system.
Okay.
Sir, why
So
the FPS system is called like British engineering system?
This one, can you see this one?
Yes,
this
sir.
one? What it is
Yes,
called?
sir.
What it is? Huh? What it is called?
Sir,
Mobile phone.
front side.
No, this whole one as a whole. What it is called? Mobile phone.
Mobile phone.
Okay.
Smartphone.
This one? This one?
Sir, a pen.
This one, what it is called?
Marker.
Marker. It is. Why it is called marker?
Because he marks everything.
So why it is called marker?
This is a name, sir.
This is the name. This is the name. So that's right. FPS it's called British engineering system. The name, the name is British engineering system.
Another
Okay.
name.
Another
Yes,
name.
sir.
Another name. Because in the British earlier, earlier this was the only system of units. We had industrial revolution. Industrial revolution. You heard industrial revolution? At that time, we had only this system, FDS system. Okay. So you see, quickly let's revise what we have learned. Quickly let's revise what we have learned. We have learned two types of two types of quantities, physical and non-physical. Have you heard? Do you remember this one? Yes or no? All of you unmute your mic and tell. All of you unmute your mic. All of you unmute your
Yes, sir.
mic.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell yes or
Yes.
I'm not able to hear anything.
Where sir gone?
Are ambitious. Ask for Sada.
Hello?
What is your teacher?
Sir, maybe your mic is mute.
Okay, sorry, my mic was muted. Okay, you see, we have two types of quantities, physical and non-physical. Do you understand? All of you have understood these two? Yes or no? You tell quickly, you tell.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, there are two types of physical quantities. There are two types of physical quantities you have understood.
Sir, fundamental quantities and derived quantities.
Fundamental and
Derived
quantities.
Derived
Derived. Fundamental and derived. What do you mean by fundamental?
Derived.
What do you mean by fundamental?
Sir, which we cannot
That
define.
can be
We
cannot be
define. Okay,
expressed.
Very good. We cannot define.
We cannot
And
define.
what do you mean by derived?
That
That we can
which can be
define.
derived.
Which can be
And all the measurements same for all.
Derived in
which can be expressed in terms of other quantities. Okay. Then system of units we have learned. Units.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Units we have learned. Well, how many systems you have learned? How many systems of units?
Three systems, sir.
Three systems.
What are they?
CGS, MGS,
CGS
FPS.
system, FPS system,
FPS,
system.
MCAS.
MCAS.
MCAS. CGS means centimeter, gram, second.
Gram, second.
FPS is FPS
Foot power pound second.
second. Full FPS is 4 pound per second. FPS is also called
British engineering system.
Meter kilogram second.
system. FPS is also called British engineering system. And one more, what we have learned?
MGS.
MCAS.
Meter kilogram.
Kilogram second.
Meter kilogram second. Meter kilogram second.
In all this system, which quantities we have used? In all these systems, which quantities we have used?
Fundamental quantity, sir.
Fundamental. All are fundamental quantities. In all this system, we have fundamental quantities. Okay. So next class we'll continue from here. Okay. Today's class was just an introduction. So
Yes, sir.
there are some students who are from Bengali medium and Assamese medium also.
Yes, sir.
There are some who are from Bengali medium and Assamese medium. Those who are facing problem, you can what is called, mail me your problems, or you can WhatsApp me your problems, what you are facing, or you can call me also if you don't understand. Because
Thank
you
you.
No,
know,
sir. I am from SMS medium, sir. I cannot feel any problem.
okay, that's great. If you don't feel any problem, it's
Thank you, sir.
great. But you know, this Bengali and Assamese, I can talk, but
Yes.
but you know, as someone told,
Yes, sir.
the equivalent of this, kinetic energy, what you told? Someone told. And I tried to remember that term, but I could not. So next time when we are face to face, we'll try to remember all these terms. In Bengali is
Okay,
also,
sir.
in Assam is also. Okay. So
Okay,
today,
sir.
whatever we have done, you just revise them at home. Okay. Once you
Okay,
revise
sir.
them, you see that you are facing many problems. And I think after 10 minutes,
Sir,
we'll
I
have
have
the
a question.
second class. Okay.
Sir.
After 10 minutes, yes.
Sir, where is the maths link provided? It?
No, today you don't have maths class, I think. Today you will
Okay,
have
sir.
chemistry. The second class is chemistry. Okay.
Okay,
First
sir.
class
Okay.
is physics, second class is chemistry. A revised routine has been given. You check the routine. And tomorrow, I think you'll have biology and maths. A separate link will be there for that one. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank
We'll
you,
stop
sir.
here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
so much.
Thank you.
And you don't forget to log in after 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, you log in.
Okay, sir.